People often say, "Your thoughts determine your life." It is not just a beautiful saying or a philosophical idea. It is a truth proven through countless stories of great individuals, people who believed in themselves even when the whole world doubted them. And today's story also begins with that very simple truth. A truth everyone seems to know, yet very few truly understand and live by. In the middle of a bustling train station, where crowds flow every day like endless waves, there was a man who almost disappeared into the background. People called him the beggar of the station. He had no name to them, no past anyone cared to remember. All they saw was a faded, torn shirt, a pair of worn-out slippers nearly falling apart, and a small pouch placed beside him to collect a few spare coins from hurried commuters. Every day, before the sun fully rose, he would find his usual spot, a corner near the direction signpost of the train platform. It was where many people stopped to wait for the train, giving him a chance to receive a few coins. He didn't speak much. He only stretched out his hand, nodded slightly, and hoped someone might show him a little mercy. He had never thought he could do anything else besides waiting for people to drop some leftover change into his hand. To him, that was simply how life worked. He had no skills, no capital, and in his own belief, nothing to offer anyone. Until one day. That morning looked just like any other ordinary morning. But then, within the rushing crowd, there was a man who stood out. A neatly tailored suit, a polished leather briefcase, and a confident stride of someone who clearly knew where he was going. Just by looking, the beggar could immediately tell. This must be a wealthy man. In that moment, hope flickered inside him. Wealthy people usually didn't mind giving a few coins. Thinking so, he quickly approached, held out his hand, and waited with expectation. But what happened next was completely different from what he imagined. The man looked at him for a moment, not with disdain, not with irritation, but with an expression as though he was observing something deeper. After a few seconds of silence, he asked a question that caught the beggar completely off guard. "Have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar froze. That question was nowhere near what he expected. He stammered, embarrassed. I don't have anything to give. I'm just a beggar." The man smiled very gently, but hidden behind that smile was a meaning the beggar didn't understand yet. If you believe you have nothing to give, then you should not expect to receive anything from others. I am a businessman. I only make exchanges. I don't give things away for free. To offer, I would gladly take it and give something back. But if you have nothing, then I cannot give you anything either. After saying that, he stepped onto the train and disappeared into the crowd. For the first time in his life, the beggar felt something strike deeply inside his mind. Not because the man didn't give him money. That had happened countless times. But the question, "Have you ever given anything to anyone?" kept echoing again and again, as if someone was knocking on a door he had never dared to open. That night, he barely slept. He began to question himself. Is it true that I have never given anything to anyone? But what have I ever had to give? Or is it because I never thought hard enough to realize I could give something? All his life, he believed he was pitiful and therefore deserved help. But never once did he stop and ask whether he was bringing any value to the world. For the next 2 days, he didn't hold out his hand to anyone. He just sat there, watching the flow of people pass by, observing the street vendors, the flower sellers, the newspaper sellers, the coffee sellers. They were not rich, but they offered something. A newspaper, a flower, a cup of hot coffee. In return, they received money. The only difference between them and him was they had something to give. On the third day, while sitting near the railway tracks, he noticed a small cluster of wildflowers growing nearby. Tiny, pale purple flowers swaying gently in the breeze. They were beautiful in a natural, simple way, requiring no one to care for them. As he looked at the flowers, a thought suddenly arose. What if I could give flowers to people? The idea filled him with excitement, his heart beating faster. For the first time, he felt he might be able to do something, even if it was small. He picked a handful of flowers, holding them gently, and carried them back to his usual spot. That day, he did something he had never done in his entire life. He gave before he received. When a passenger dropped a few coins into his pouch, he smiled and handed them a small flower. "Thank you. Please take this flower." The passenger looked surprised, but then their smile grew wider, a smile far more genuine than any polite thank you. That simple expression warmed the beggar's heart, and something strange happened in the days that followed. People gave him more. It wasn't because they pitied him. It was because he made them feel happy. Another thing also became clear very quickly. When he still had flowers, people were generous. When the flowers ran out, the money decreased. For the first time, he realized a rule he had never understood before. People are willing to exchange when they receive value. No one wants to give unconditionally forever. He started picking more flowers and arranging them neatly. His mindset changed as well. He no longer felt like he was begging. He was exchanging, even if his product was just wildflowers. One afternoon, while giving out flowers as usual, he saw the man who had changed him, the businessman from before. Without waiting for the man to speak, the beggar, now vastly different from who he once was, hurried over and said with a confident voice, "Sir, today I have something to exchange with you. If you give me money, I will give you flowers in return." The businessman laughed, not mockingly, but joyfully. He handed over the money, received the flowers, and said, "Very good. You have understood the principle of life. To receive, you must know how to give. From today, you are no longer a beggar. You are a businessman." Those words were like a ray of light opening a great door. The poor man who once stood trembling now fell silent, his heart racing, his mind suddenly bright with clarity. He realized he truly was running a business. That new awareness made him no longer want to remain at the train station. He felt he could do much more than that. If wildflowers had given him a chance, then perhaps a small flower stall could open a future. He left the station that day, not as someone giving up, but as someone stepping into a new chapter of life. Using the few coins he had saved and the new belief he had discovered, he bought bouquets from the wholesale market and began selling flowers on the streets. Everyone who bought flowers from him received a smile and the sincerity he had learned from the rule of giving and receiving. Gradually, his income became more stable. Then he rented a small corner in the market. Slowly, that corner turned into a flower stall, and the flower stall grew into a source of income big enough for him to hire, help, and open additional stands. One morning, back at the very train station from years before, two well-dressed men shook hands. One of them looked at the other with a puzzled expression, eyes searching through old memories. Finally, he asked, "Have we met before, haven't we?" The other man smiled. "Yes, we've met twice. Once, you refused to give me money. The next time, you bought flowers from me." The businessman froze. After a few seconds, he realized, You were the beggar that day." The man nodded, confident yet humble. "Yes, but not today. I am now running a small flower business and traveling to meet partners to expand it." The businessman's eyes widened. Then he laughed with joy. "I am truly amazed. What made you change like this?" The man replied in a calm but proud voice, "You taught me that. To receive, first you must know how to give. To succeed, first you must believe that you can." The two men shook hands again. This time, it was not between a rich man and a poor man, but between two equals. The story ends with a simple yet profound truth. When we see ourselves as small, the world treats us as small. When we believe in our own value, others see that value too. When our mindset changes, our actions change. And when our actions change, our future changes completely. We do not become someone else overnight, but we can begin to become a better version of ourselves, simply by changing the way we think. Just like the beggar of years ago, what made him wealthy was not the flowers, but the belief that he had something to give.